unlike the pause, saving Drake, there was no saving him against Kendrick Lamar. And now we're gonna get into it. Obviously, this beef has been going back and forth. There's a whole Wikipedia page actually
Ooh.
for it, so it's a historical event now, Rem. Um, but in case you've been living under a rock, uh, Lamar got a shout out in a song with J. Cole in first person shooter mode, first person shooter with Drake and what's his face, J. Cole.
Oh, hey, don't
And
do that to our guy.
he is great though. Yeah, shout out J. Cole just chilling on the beach right now. He doesn't care. And Kendrick felt slighted that he was considered, one of the best three rappers and said he was the best out of all. And now, so there's a whole back and forth thing. So he comes out with which one was it? Like Us?
He featured on Like That, which was
Like
the on the
that.
Metro Boomin Future album. Is the feature verse.
Yeah, like that. And then J. Cole actually was the first to respond
J. Cole dropped the
with
first
seven
response.
minute drill. 7 minute drill, which was pretty fire, but then J. Cole apologized, took everything back, removed it. So, that's who knows? I mean, I think the street's saying he's the real winner. I'd say that too. Um
Would you vote J.
then
Cole the
Drake
winner?
came out with push-ups. I would. I probably would. I don't know. I mean, Lamar, obviously everyone's listening to a song now and it's blowing up, but now the tide has gone against him a little bit, which we'll talk about a little
Yeah, I'll
bit.
let you finish the timeline.
Uh, so then you have push-ups, and then you have tailor-made freestyle, which it was deleted because Tupac, his vocals in there using AI generated vocals that sounded kind of like him. So anyway, and apparently Drake got, he claimed that Kendrick called Tupac's estate um and begged them to file cease and desist. So who knows? I don't know. And then on in the song The Heart Part 6 you mentioned that. And then in response to push-ups, Kendrick Lamar drops Euphoria on April 30th and then 616 in LA on May 3rd. I don't know. For me, 616 in LA might have been the worst one. I don't know. And
Over Meet the
then
Grams?
yeah, I don't know. Yeah, oh, you didn't like Meet the Grams.
Oh, you mean the worst one in terms of quality? I thought you meant like in terms of like which one was
Yeah.
the most vicious. I got you.
Oh yeah, not at all. And then Drake responds with Family Matters later on May 3rd. Um and then shout out Dave Free. He's gotten the most publicity from this than anyone. It's so funny seeing so many Twitter threads being like, who the heck is Dave Free? Then less than an hour after Family Matters, Kendrick dropped Meet the Grams, accusing Drake of sex trafficking, sexual predator, pedophilia, all of it, everything. Having a secret kid. And then he backs it up with, the song, we were looking for a song to rise above, to be on the levels, like we mentioned, of Ether. And that happened that same day with Not Like Us, giving Drake all the nicknames in the world. And then May 5th, a couple days ago, Drake responded with the Heart Part 6, of course, denying everything. But yeah, it's pretty clear that Kendrick has won. But a little bit, it seems like at what cost? It seems like the label is asking him to put out a statement just so Drake stops losing money and everyone else connected to him. And then, people are looking up tweets. And apparently, we see that Kendrick might have stolen his line from tweets. and one of the biggest things that people point against Drake is that he's a ghost. He has ghostwriters, which may or may not be true. I don't know. But
wait, where
you
the
know,
explain
or
the tweets thing? I haven't heard the tweets thing yet. This is new to me. So were they like
yeah, that just came out.
were these tweets potentially like could they have been in reference to, were those tweets in something like important in some way? And then the way he's dropping it in a bar means, hey, like I'm referencing these tweets and they're like specifically like, are they like by people that are important or connected to Drake or in any like way like that?
Yeah, so there's like tweets that came up that had the exact lines that he had. And so it's like, oh, did he actually steal those tweets to put in his lines? I mean, you saw the quick turnaround of the songs being made. You know, it's not the hardest thing to conceive, but I don't think people at the end of the day, I don't think people care. They just are here for entertainment, and Kendrick Lamar gave the best entertainment with Not Like Us. And I think most people like Euphoria second, even though I would argue Push-Ups is, in my opinion, second.
but last time we were talking about it, I think Meet the Grams was like just dropped, so you hadn't even got a chance to listen to it yet. And then, like you said, he drops Not Like Us, which becomes the hit song out of this entire beef. And then Drake responded with The Hard Part 6. But when we were talking again, Meet the Grams still hadn't even dropped or had just dropped at that point. So we were kind of like, yeah, this Drake is obviously down bad, but he could still throw some kind of haymaker and get back in the match. Like we had said, like he hadn't dropped the ether yet, and then Not Like Us dropped. And I remember like it dropped overnight, and then waking up Sunday morning, I believe, and then seeing the text from you being like, I think ether had just dropped. And I listened to it and I was like, oh yeah, this is this is not good.
Yeah. No, I remember I listened to it Saturday night in my car, and I was like, yeah, I can't defend Drake. I'm done. Like, it doesn't matter what Drake says after this. He's done. He's cooked.
Yeah.
He's cooked.
Do you think, because I mean, obviously we know the stuff that he invoked on Drake that won him the beef, that forced Drake to respond. Like, is there any, like, did Drake like win this on a DQ? I know he's your guy. Is that like, and I don't know if there's any like lines in this stuff. I'm not saying there is. I'm just saying like,
Yeah, I mean, there's a reason we had Trump in office. I was trying to tell people this earlier. At some point, the facts don't matter. If it kind of sounds true and people want to believe it and it's more entertainment, then that's what they're going to do. That's what they're going to go with. And that's what Kendrick has done. I mean, there's so many Drake fans. They're like, oh, I love this song, who may straight up like Drake, but the song is just so entertaining. They don't care. And so, Drake may have in some back way won if he really fed information, but the Millie Bobby Brown thing, that is a little questionable, and I do think, maybe who knows what's going on behind the scenes. I'm pretty skeptical. I wouldn't be surprised if something happened, but I do think that no matter what the facts are, even if the stuff was leaked out to him, I mean, people have been wanting to hate on Drake, and yeah, and then Kendrick came with, put a cherry on top of the cake of that was already made, and yeah, I mean, he killed it. The song sounds great. I'm not gonna sit here and say it was a bad song, but yeah, that's where we're kind of stuck. Is the facts kind of don't matter at this point.
But I think even if you're looking, even if you're looking at that kind of stuff, like to be factual, like I don't know, like at the end of the day, like yeah, like I mean, the most effective disses are gonna be factual, but a lot of it was also Kendrick hurling insults at him. And if you're gonna insult a guy, like I mean, Drake, I mean, a lot of the stuff with the early disses with Kendrick was oh, he's not really revealing any new information about Kendrick. Obviously, he tried it with the second daughter stuff, but he's more like really attacking him about stuff that the internet has already made fun of him for or sort of speculated on. And if he, in doing that, what he's just doing the most vicious version of that. So I think some of the stuff where people are like looking at it being like, hey, is this stuff true? It's like, okay, yeah, I mean, it is obvious. Obviously, he is. Yeah. It does seem like there are some actual allegations with what he's saying, but also, it is also, the most effective way. It's like just like the most brutal insults that you can absolutely hurl at somebody. And again, it is stuff that like is online. It's stuff that's been, in the deepest, darkest circles has been, floated and speculated around. So I don't know if like expecting all of it to be true. And it's like, okay, he's also trying to insult him and put him down and demean, like do all that stuff as well too. So I don't know.
Yeah, and just in case don't know English or as well, or understand the lyrics of Not Like Us, you got BBL Drizzy, song now going all over online because Metro Boomin was yelled at by Drake to go make some drums, and he did, which I respect to Metro Boomin. He went out and did it, and now you got people singing BBL Drizzy in every language possible, and so. Yeah, I don't know. It's always been cool to hate on Drake.
Does BBL is that different in other languages? I feel like BBL Drizzy might just be BBL Drizzy in every language.
Yeah, probably, but it's just the song, It's like it's just a phrase that's fun to say, and it's the tune of it, and you don't really have to think about it. It's a great beat.
Slide in the DMs. What's a better beat, the BBL Drizzy beat or the Lift Yourself beat for Kanye? The poopity scoop 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 beat.
Poopity whoopity scoop. It definitely wasn't nearly as popular as BBL Drizzy. The way I've seen Drizzy all over.
Also, I saw a lot of people saying that this is Kendrick's best like club song that he's dropped. And in terms of like the charts, I mean, it's his first #1 solo hit. So exactly. I mean, it's got that pedigree to it, but this is another slide in the DMs. What do you guys think? Is this a better song than Humble? Just straight up. I think, Humble's like one of the all-time one-time songs, and I love this song as well. Is this song a better like dance song than Humble?
Yeah.
Yeah?
There's no question, yeah.
Cuz that's crazy. Like again, that's like all-time. That's crazy.
No, it is, but I mean, yeah, I mean, one song is about, being humble, and one's like, hey, it's a diss song. It's, beat 'em up. It makes you feel good. You're not like us.
So I want to know from you too, because Drake's your guy. Like, what does he do? Like, what does this do for him after this? Because I was like thinking back on the Nas Jay-Z beef, and like Ether definitely goes down as maybe the most brutal diss track outside of Hit 'Em Up. But the thing about that beef is like Takeover is also one of the great diss tracks of all time. And Jay-Z, after that after that feud, he drops The Blueprint and then the Black Album, and like has like maybe the two best albums of his entire career. And in terms of the charts and all the numbers, like does that, but it does feel like one from the like Drake has kind of already been where Jay-Z was going at that point, but also he didn't drop Takeover in this feud. It's not like he got, again, like you're saying, not like this is an all-time song. Like I think it would have been super hard to top that just in terms of quality. But again, it's not like he dropped like Push-Ups is really good. Family Matters, it's really good. But I don't think he stepped up to that level where you're like, okay, yeah, Jay-Z is still like maybe the greatest, one of the greatest of all time. Nas just went to this insane, like Isaiah Thomas in the fourth quarter of the finals, put up 25 points and just this entire other level. And I don't know, I feel like the feud would have been different for Drake if he had gotten there with the songs, but is it almost worse that he lost? It's like he lost it without doing the all-time great stuff as well, too, which is what this was about. like two all-time great MCs, and we didn't necessarily get that takeover track from Drake.
Yeah, I think Drake, like push-ups, I think in like 2-3 years is gonna be like, you're gonna see it be played more and more.
You think it'll age well?
I think it'll age well. I think the thing with Drake's music is that, especially nowadays, it's like, it's cool to obviously hate on him. So like no one wants to come out and be like, oh my gosh, I love Drake. Oh my gosh, I wanna, but then like it'll slowly creep on people's playlists. Like the more and more people listen, like you'll see it added in more areas. I mean, he's getting these listens from somewhere. So I think
it's
like
a good song. I'm not saying it's not good.
Yeah. I think like once people have space from this, like the emotional connection, being in the moment and all that. And I think push-ups will get its day in the sun. And yeah, I mean, I in my opinion, it's definitely the second best song in this whole list. It's just no one wants to give Drake any credit right now because that's, I think both sides just don't want to give anyone any credit. And so,
I mean, I think Euphoria is Euphoria's, I probably play that more than push-ups. And Meet the Grams Meet the Grams is brutal. So I don't know if you just have to give that its props, but I can say it's third. I'll say it's third.
Yeah.
Out of all the songs. Unless we're throwing Like That in there.
Yeah. I mean,
it goes down another one.
Yeah, whoa,
and if we're throwing BBL Drizzy in there, it might be.
I think Euphoria
is it as good as BBL Drizzy?
Oh my gosh. Oh God. Get out of here. I think Euphoria definitely is a more memorable song. I would say that. But I don't know. He's just hating. Also, I'm not a fan of any song that's like 6 minutes over. Like once you're past 5, you're pushing it. So that's just personal. When they were coming out with like 7-minute diss, I'm like, come on now, guys. Like,
well, especially for family, like as good as Family Matters is, like it's also it's just push-ups part 2 at the beginning. And then he goes into Family Matters.
Yeah.
It's 2 separate songs. So I also think he messed up by, I mean, this is where we see opponents mess up in sports too, where if you feel like you need to play the other team's game and go out of your own style, in Drake, we saw, especially with the Heart Part 6, like that's just not really, that's more a type of song that like he was really trying to do what Kendrick was doing. And he was, again, like trying to go toe to toe with him as a great MC, but he was like, I'm not going to go toe to toe with him in my voice and what I do best. I'm going to try to play Kendrick's game. And if you're going to do that, like Kendrick's going to beat you at it. And again, I don't know if there's a song that he could have dropped that was going to match this, but I think, again, you don't have to necessarily win these beefs. Like Jay-Z didn't win the Nas beef, but he still came out of the beef really strong, and you still had to respect him as a great MC. And I know you said earlier that, Drake is still like undoubtedly one of the greatest musicians of all time. And that's definitely true from a selling standpoint. But do you think there is going to be a shift now with how people view him? I think, he's going to drop good music in the future, and it's still going to be consumed at that high level. And I'm sure all the international stuff is still going to go well for him. But do you think people are going to do you think there even is a big 3 now anymore? Do you think that even exists? Like, do people are going to, like, what is the conversation for Drake now going forward?
Yeah, I don't, we'll see. I really don't know, because we're kind of in uncharted territory. I mean, there's a reason there's a Wikipedia page about this. Like, this is not something that happens all the time. So it's definitely something new, I think, for this level with Drake. I mean, Pusha T and that whole thing, but like Pusha T isn't close to the level of Kendrick. At least I don't know if, maybe there's some Pusha T fans out there. But Kendrick's like, a legit, I mean, Drake, the reason why this whole thing came up is because Drake was giving him props, which is another thing that I don't think people realize, is that like Kendrick is the one who punched first in this situation. Like Drake was sticking his hand out to shake his hand.
First person shooter.
Kendrick punched him in the head. Yeah, but it was him saying he was one of the top three. I mean, obviously Drake's not gonna say like, "Oh, you're a better rapper than me," but he said you're in the top three. It's K. Dot, J. Cole, and me. Like, so I think that's something that's gonna get lost in the annals of history. Is that like Kendrick was definitely the old grumpy man here, just yelling, but for some reason Drake wanted to back it up and go downhill. I don't know why, but um,
Well, I think it was
yeah,
I think they needed the big three needed to establish an order at some point. I think it needed to happen because you could make the case for all these guys in either way. And like, let's be honest, the reason Drake and I, again, I like Drake, like I love Drake's music. Like Drake is great music, but the reason Drake is in the big three conversation is because of the numbers, right? Like nobody actually thought going into this rap battle that Drake was like better than Kendrick. Like, did anybody actually do you actually think Drake is better than Kendrick? Like, I know you're a Drake guy and you like his music more, but like, are you like Drake is a better all time
as an artist or like
Drake?
what?
Yeah, and you're like all time artist rankings. If it was like basketball players, like I know like Tatum's your guy, but you wouldn't put Tatum over Anthony Edwards. Like you would, or Tatum over Jokic or
Yeah,
Shea.
but Tatum hasn't been putting like Hall of Fame numbers for a while. I think for Drake, I think for me, I put him above. But when I think of Drake, I don't think as Drake as a person as much as Drake the brand, because I can recognize that he did not. There is a high likelihood he did not write all his music. Like he did steal a lot of ideas. There's no way one human being can come up with this many bangers. Like, but so it's more of, I think Drake the personal artist, like the human being. Chances are Kendrick is a better artist than him. But in terms of Drake, the brand, like Drake, the Scott, his all his stuff that he's been doing, and not like Kendrick just showed up, like you mentioned in his song. But when you look at the full work from Drake compared to Kendrick, that's where I'd have Drake above him by a good number, by quite a bit. But at the same time, it's not Drake the artist, like as a person, because I think he's definitely stolen stuff from other people. But that's so has Apple, and so does every tech company. Everyone's doing it something to get an edge. So,
But isn't it it's a little like the LeBron Durant thing where, you got your big three with LeBron, Steph, and Durant, and nobody actually would take LeBron over Durant. But there were moments in the finals where, Durant, especially with another great player, with Curry, maybe like Drake featuring with another great, you go, oh, Drake is like a really special talent. And then you see like, oh, you move over to a situation where you have to carry your team in Brooklyn. Now you're in Phoenix. It's, clearly you're still in this big three from a talent standpoint, but it's like, yeah, LeBron is in a little bit of a tier of his own. And I think, again, Drake was in that big three, but like you're saying, it was the whole thing. So as an artist, I don't know if anybody actually thought Kendrick was on that level. But the thing that this beef did was, now is Kendrick in that mainstream level that Drake is. And that's the thing going forward that is going to be interesting. Like Drake has obviously compiled in a massive history at this point. He's dropped, probably twice as many albums as Kendrick. But I mean, this song went number one. Like Kendrick, I think, has clearly achieved a new level of mainstream popularity. And from, again, if the numbers thing is the thing that is keeping Drake in this conversation, is that flip to now where, oh, Kendrick could have both and stake his claim. And that's kind of what he's saying. Like, oh, there is no big three. Like, I'm kind of the main guy here. Like, has he kind of just taken, is there a world where he's also flipped the numbers game on him as well, too?
I mean, maybe. I think I think Drake's, his range is a lot bigger, I think, than Kendrick, in terms of the range of music you might get from him. I mean, I think, you could definitely argue that, Drake or that Kendrick, his music may be But more thought out. There's more heart in it. There's more meaning to it than what Drake writes. And yeah, I mean, as a Drake fan, I rarely point to the numbers. I do, recognize the numbers in terms of him being a mainstream guy, and happy that Kendrick is getting his day in the sun. I think more for Drake, it's more of just the range of music all within one brand that there is, like where you can go from passion fruit and you know, I don't know why it's losing my mind right now, to wants and needs and yes indeed, and like you can just jump around through all
Features.
these different, you're working with Rihanna, just all over the place. And not saying that Kendrick hasn't had features like that, but or hasn't had features, but I mean, there's not as wide a range, in my opinion, you've seen from him. I mean, I think um, damn, yeah, he had like Love featuring Zakari. So there's, there are some softer songs. I'm not saying there's none, but um, yeah, like you mentioned, Drake has put out more music, and so there's going to be just more out there, and so I mean, I think that's helped with the numbers as well. But yeah, I definitely, there's also personal taste in it. So looking at the big scope, I think Kendrick is the better artist as a human being. But if I have to listen to one person's music, and I only get to choose their library of music, I'd pick Drake over Kendrick.
Well, yeah, I mean Drake's your guy, and I think for diehards, I don't know if Kendrick like killed the Drake diehard fans, but you also said J. Cole won the beef. So do you think Drake, from like a legacy standpoint, has he slid past J. Cole now? Is he just clearly number 3 behind those two guys?
I don't know where Drake's at. It's just it's one of the things. It's unless you. I think there's just I think a good majority of like the public, either they don't like Drake because they think he's horrible and already did without this. They think he is soft and all that, just because he doesn't, I don't know, doesn't walk around with guns or something, I don't know. Or they don't like him because they like his older music, and he definitely has grown as an artist. He's changed, like he's going to be a different person in a decade. So with those two combined, I think it makes the majority of people who listen to Drake. And I would love to see the percentage of how many listeners Drake has who only listen to his old songs, like who've never heard For All the Dogs, who've never heard, his newer music, and just stay with, the older albums. So I think that's where Drake gets a good number of his views. But it's still his library. So
I don't think anybody's denying like that Drake is like you're saying, a great musician, but that last level of like,
well, I think people are, but have you looked at Twitter lately? I don't know.
well, I mean, obviously his ranking is, yeah, like we're saying, it's slipping a little bit, but it's like, again, like with the Durant thing, where you're still an all-time guy. It's just where you were in the conversation for like being the top, in the like the top. Maybe you're in like the slight tier behind that. I thought J. Cole kind of approached, and the thing is, the thing is, I think I saw something too that said that J. Cole was kind of like somebody had told him like, hey, this is gonna get like actually like really bad if you want to go down this path with Kendrick. Like he'll like kind of go to war with, and I'm not saying he's gonna uncover the same kind of dirt, but he'll do his best to like be that violent. So
yeah,
he was obviously trying to duck it, but I thought his approach in the oh, sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just saying. I mean, I think the gap between LeBron and KD is a little bit bigger than Kendrick and Drake. I mean, I think I'm trying to think of a closer. I mean, I think you could look at it like SGA and Doncic. I mean, I think, if especially if SGA makes a conference finals here, maybe even further. Um, like if say SGA, has had, the career has been like he's been making it to conference finals and stuff, but he's done it like with the team, with the people surrounding him. I'm trying to think of another name while talking this one out. Um, yeah, I guess like if I would probably say, yeah, like Curry, like who, but not like your greatest shooter of all time, to like someone who is super talented but hasn't, maybe like LeBron and Curry, but you don't have like the best, he's not the best. Like there isn't one specific thing with Drake that you're like the best of. But the point being, like a superstar who has had a lot of help around him to be great, while, Kendrick's super talented, has, had all the Grammys and stuff. He's put up the numbers, and, just hasn't put up as much music or had as much help. So I don't know. I just it's one of the things people probably argue to the end of time. So I don't know. It's just
But it's also
we could
like we
just go
made
back and forth all day.
the Nolan comparison too with Kendrick, where I don't know if the just saying like Drake has dropped more music is great, because like I like all of like the hit rate with all of Kendrick's stuff is like it's all good. So I get Drake has dropped more, but if you're just like,
Yeah.
well, what like how many songs are actually being like constantly replayed? I think you might argue like Kendrick has as many as Drake does. Like the entire Good Kid, Mad City album you're playing. Like I mean, you're
Yeah.
playing almost every one of all of his albums. I know Mr. Morale,
Mr. Morale, yeah.
he gets serious on some of that, but even going back to like
Yeah. Some
Section
of those, I
80,
don't know.
Overly Dedicated. Like I think there's the same amount of Kendrick songs that would be circulating as Drake songs. So that's where it's kind of like all the pieces. It's like he's almost in kind of like where it's like if like where people were at with Dame Lillard and Steph a little bit, where it's like people kind of thought Dame was Steph if you just put him on the Warriors. And it's like, okay, yeah, he's obviously can do the same stuff that Steph can do on given nights, and he can have the same heat check performances, but Steph's just a different level. And Drake maybe has achieved a little bit more in his career than Dame has, but
A little more. I mean, I think Kendrick definitely he's definitely a lot more real as an artist. You can get into like a lot more darker stuff,
do you
which I
want to
think
see Drake
I
change
understand why.
as an artist and like mature with some of the stuff
Um,
he's talking about? Or do you like the fact that it
nah, I'm
is
kind of
sort
good.
of easy to listen to? Like it's just chill vibe.
Yeah, it is chill vibe, and I think that's what makes it more accessible for some people, um, than Kendrick, because you know Kendrick might say stuff that makes you actually think, or actually change your mood, and you're like, oh, this is not what I signed up for. And I think that's the thing with Drake, is that I think he delivers exactly what you expect from each kind of thing, and Kendrick brings more. And so it's the question of what is better. What do you want from your artist? Do you want an artist who, makes you think, who challenges you, who, brings some raw stuff in, or do you want an artist who, once you kind of where the song is headed, where it's headed, you can put on a certain song and you're like, oh, that, it's not bad writing, it's still good writing, but where you're going, where the plane is landing.
I just think if you compare some of the numbers now and you start going through it, I know if you start going like
Well,
body of work,
now, man.
and it's like
Yeah, who knows?
all this stuff is true too. If I feel like you bring it in the battle and it just, it was a fine,
Yeah.
fine performance, but maybe a little Halliburton-y. in the way he did it. But
I don't know.
how have you been?
We'll
Have
see.
you been
I
listening
don't.
to
Yeah.
more or less Drake lately? Has this like? Are you like double down on your support for your guy? You're just I'm listening to only Drake now, or have you just been like, nah? Is it just like
No,
he's
I've
like,
been
oh,
listening
I
to
don't know.
mostly new music. No,
Yeah,
I haven't
given
been
a little
listening
break.
to him lately. But it's mostly Lil Tecca, yeah. A lot of
Ooh,
Lil Tecca. But if he came out with a new album, I'd listen to him. I definitely have Drake as the most songs in my rotation. It's just, I usually go to a certain part of the rotation and listen to it. So I've been on a Lil Tecca tear.
hmm.
But like, yeah, I don't know. I mean, also Kendrick hasn't, he hasn't been someone who has spoken to me as much as Drake. So it's just, yeah, I don't know. It's, there's also a matter of taste, a lot of thing. And I think Drake is definitely more accessible to more people.
I think people are just listening to like the wrong Kendrick songs. I don't know what it is. Like the hits, they're all. I don't know. Like
They're
again,
not, but I don't think people are saying they're bad, but like some people just want to chill. And, I want to one day, sometimes you just want to chill. Like, sometimes you want to hear bad, but sometimes you want like chill songs. And I don't know how many chill songs Kendrick has. Maybe, yeah, I'm not saying he has zero. You mentioned Love. There might be some other in the list. But I think Drake, he has that variability of being a singing kind of guy, of having a softer side, and maybe that's just because he's produced more music. But while Drew Kendrick's kind of in his lane, I don't know.
no. I mean, obviously, he's not gonna like convert you over to like be a full Kendrick fanatic. Like again, like
Yeah,
and I'm not like off of Drake in my rotation like any less. Like yeah, like I'm still gonna
zero
like
Drake.
yeah. I'm not like well, I guess Drake's just off the playlist now. Kendrick just destroyed him. Like Drake's still gonna be there, but I would definitely say that. I mean, again, like I've always kind of viewed Kendrick as the top guy, but I thought the arguments were a little bit more there. Now it's just like okay, it's kind of undeniable. But again, I think he was already kind of in that range of greatest because I mean, you just think like again what he's doing lyrically, but also commercially to have the success that he's had, like and then also in the industry as well too to collect all the awards. Like it's kind of him and Eminem and Jay-Z, and it's just like you start going back like Tupac, Biggie, and that's like your top guys. But
Yeah,
sort of in the industry era, especially him and Eminem, especially, I bet those are probably the top two for best rap album winners. But I mean, he's definitely checked all those
I don't know.
boxes.
Maybe I'm
So
just.
now that he's like
I
broken
mean,
through
I
in a
might just be
mainstream
too
way,
dumb to listen to Kendrick. Yeah,
no, I just think he gets that
I'm not
rap,
saying
like you're
you're
saying.
saying that, but yeah, yeah. But I think for Kendrick, you got to be like thinking what he's saying stuff. I think the main point is he brings messages in most of his songs. So,
Yeah, so Eminem
you
has
know,
6
can
wins.
you casually listen to Kendrick?
I
That's
think
my
you
question.
can. I
Mm.
think his beats are insane. Like all the beats are insane, and I think, I mean, as long as you know the words or the cadence is good to a song, like, I mean, you can let the meaning of the song just like kind of go over your head and vibe to it. So again, like Kendrick's cadence is
Yeah.
always on point. So the fact that he does like the kind
No,
of
yeah,
this,
there's no blue face nonsense.
yeah, the fact, but that's also kind of what I listen to more is the more old school, the soul sample, that type of stuff. Like Euphoria, like the intro to Euphoria, the beat at the beginning is like crazy. I mean,
Yeah.
that's great stuff. But I mean, obviously, the Not Like Us is insane too. But again, I've always kind of thought that Kendrick was in a space of his own, but now it's like he got the other ring and he's like really ascended into his own territory.
Yeah, no, he's definitely taking a step up with his whole beef. He's never gonna be the same. It's never gonna be the
Yeah.
same. Yeah. No. It's just where is he at? I don't know. Who knows? Community definitely has him over Drake right now though, so I don't, not a lot of people are gonna disagree with you on this one. Let's just
No, the boy will still have people at his concert. He'll still be fine, obviously.
No, Drake. Yeah, Drake's not. We'll see. We'll see. It'll be really interesting if Kendrick has to put out a statement saying taking back stuff.
I don't think he will.
Yeah, there's no shot. No shot. But yeah, Lil Tecca going off this year. 2024 is his.
The year
Just
Lil
give it
Tecca.
up. People, I don't know why. I don't know why he's not getting more love. He's going off right now. Let's see here. You want to get into piercing truth?
Piercing truth?
Save the Austin Reeves says you can take 30 players out of the NBA and put them in the NFL, but you can't put 30 players in the NFL and put them in the NBA. Is he right? Because I am low-key agreeing with him.
That you can't take 30 NFL players and put them in the NBA?
Yeah. No, I do think NBA players have to be a lot more skillful than NFL players.
But even in a big man hustle reboundy type role, like worst case scenario. And some of these guys are actually skilled. Like, have you seen the Anthony Richardson highlights?
Yeah. No, I'm not saying they're not skilled, but I think you're definitely using your blunt motor skills, because there's fine motor skills, where you're trying to do like specific stuff. And I think with basketball, you're trying to get a ball into a hoop that barely fits. Like, it's definitely a lot more precision, while football, like the end zone's big. Like you got to just ram through a guy in front of you to get there. So I think, it's a lot more brute force in football. I mean, this is stating obvious.
But how many brute force guys are in the NBA right now?
But you can use skills to get in the end zone. So you have you can juke around. You can pull, you can be jumping around. So
you can do it both ways. Like the correct answer is yes, like both. There are 30 NFL guys that can go into the NBA, probably even more. And there are 30 NBA guys that can go into the NFL. I actually probably think there's more NFL guys that can go into the NBA because, for one, all of these guys are playing
more NFL guys in general.
Absolutely. But all these guys are also playing multiple sports in high school as well. So a lot of these guys already play basketball. So like all the receivers, I mean, you get
back at the other one too.
Yeah, but you're saying brute force. Like, there's like 6 guys in the NBA that could be a running back.
No, there could be more. If Deuce Vaughn can be a running back, there's definitely more who can be. Like, you're telling me Jalen Brunson?
Like, all these guys are just going to be playing.
Can't be a running back?
A 6'3" running back? He would
Brunson
be like.
Can't be a running back?
He's like Derrick Henry almost. The thing is, NBA guys are big too.
He's huge. He's taking hits. Yeah. You're telling me Anthony Edwards can't be a wideout?
Well, yeah, Anthony Edwards could Anthony Edwards is one of the guys that definitely could play football.
Yeah.
Like peak Russ. Like Ja could probably go play football.
I don't know. Curry's tall enough to be a quarterback.
Curry could be absolutely be a quarterback.
Would be great.
Receiver, all these, Curry could probably play.
Who couldn't be in the NFL? Like, what's his face? Giannis's younger brother could be. Thanasis in the NFL? He would be great in that.
He's too
put him up crazy enough.
Gangly.
Big?
You're going to have a 7-footer. What position is he going to play?
Wemby couldn't make it in the NFL. He's too tall and gangly.
No, he would break.
He would break him in half. He'd snap in half. Like Wemby, Chet, like I get it with those players, but Paolo, he'd be great.
Tight end
Paolo could make it. There's plenty of players. I think both can both ways, but I do understand the argument of NFL players struggling in the NBA. I think the other way around, you could definitely find positions. Like you just pull a Tyreek Hill and step out of bounds every time or get down. That's what Tyreek does.
But like, who's
Of
guarding
course he
Chris
has the
Jones in
speed,
the
but
NBA? Like, I don't even know if Chris Jones plays basketball, if he's ever played
you don't
basketball
have
before.
to. Just put
Who
Kenny
boxes
Lofton
out
on.
Chris? Who's going to box out Chris Jones? Nobody.
Okay, but Chris Jones has to get up and down the court first. Like
Well,
you have to be pretty
but it wasn't
conditioned
like
to be that fast.
it wasn't like how many NFL guys can make all NBA. He just needs to be on. He just needs to I don't know, like play 10 minutes a night. Like who can be in a rotation?
It would be all NBA. No, you're right. You're right. I don't know. I don't think there's a definite no, 30 players can't make it. I just think NFL players would struggle. Like who would struggle more? You think NBA players would struggle more than NFL
Oh,
players?
I think NBA players. The physicality of the NFL?
You don't think they Yeah, but it depends on what position. They're not going to be in the trenches.
It doesn't matter. You get hit wherever you play. Unless you're quarterback.
Have you seen Robbie Anderson? Like
nobody in the NBA is
man.
There's who in the NBA is as fast as Robbie Anderson? De'Aaron Fox, maybe.
See how skinny he is?
Yeah, but again, he's quick enough to not get hit. He's in the NFL because the reason he's able to be in the NFL is because he's fast enough to survive. I don't know if there's anybody in the NBA that's built like Robbie Anderson that's also fast enough to survive.
Who knows? I mean,
all the defensive,
not everyone's Legion of Boom.
Offense. What if Tristan Wirfs was just like, I'm just going to go be the center for the Warriors? A left tackle? Who's going to box out a left tackle?
Up and down the court? How many plays does he play? Like 5?
But that's an incredible 5 plays. That's 5 offensive rebounds. There.
Have you seen them? Like when they get the ball on a fumble and then they got to run like 30 yards and they're just dying.
Can you imagine Steph Curry shooting off of a screen set by a left tackle? He would be wide open.
I'm just saying he's got to get past half court down there first. Like,
that would be a double screen in itself. You would need 2 guys to replicate that.
Man, I think they'd learn why the exercise is called suicide, man. I'm just saying. It's crazy.
Can I take it a step
They're
further?
Not making it.
I'm going to take a step further. I don't think there is a guy I think everybody in the NFL would make an NBA team.
Okay. All right. Yeah, we don't even. Okay.
You don't I didn't say play. I just said make the team. Man. The G League team, I think they technically count.
We're done. Oh my gosh. That's not the NBA. That's the G League.
NBA Development League. NBA is in the name. It's an NBA associated league.
I'm just saying it's not. It's not.
Every NFL player could at least play in the G League.
I think you're wrong. You know how many 100 people are in the NFL? There's no shot they can all make the NBA.
They're all so athletic. Like guys get drafted top 15 that are just athletic profiles. And they're like, Kuminga played basketball for like 4 years. Jaylen Brown still can't go left.
There are 1,696 players in the NFL.
All 1,000 of them could be in the NBA.
Oh my gosh. All right. That's crazy talk.
Well, except for probably not Deuce Vaughn. Sorry. Probably not Deuce Vaughn. Unfortunately. Okay. Can he dunk? No,
there's too many short guys. Tyreek Hill, he's not making it.
Tyreek Hill?
Like there's too many shorties. Yeah, bro, if you're below 6'1", you're not making the NBA. I'm telling you right now. It's
Tyreek Hill can't get 12 minutes a night. The fastest guy in sports.
No, he's not. He's not getting in a game. He's just getting that stuff swatted. Muggsy Bogues is gone, bro.
Isaiah, he's just not Isaiah Thomas 2.0.
How many NFL
And I feel like he's only like, he's not like he's
players
5'7".
are six?
I mean, he's got to be 5'10".
Let's see. How many are under 6 feet tall? Let's see.
He's 5'10", 190. And fast
Yeah, I'm trying to see.
and can probably dunk.
There's there's a lot of players under 6 foot, man. I'm just saying, you're below 6 foot, you're not making the league. It's just that simple. There's no shot.
Okay, so everybody over 6 foot in the NFL could make the NBA. How about that?
Oh gosh. How many players
Travis Kelce couldn't play in the NBA.
6 foot? No, he could. He could. I didn't say no one could.
Okay, so there's at least one guy from each team that could play in the NBA, right? So that's 32 guys
Yeah.
automatically. That's an easy way
How
to
many
prove Austin Rivers wrong.
NFL players are 6 feet or
If
taller?
anybody's done that research, shout out.
Well, they list them all. So,
I'm going to list them all by height.
well, combine and all that. Anyway, nah, I'd say a good 30% can make it. And I think a good half of the league can make it to the
I mean, if you just tell them to play defense, all of them will make it. Just bring in a guy that plays defense for 12 minutes a night. That'll be great.
Yeah, 7'2" player was in the NFL. So the tallest NFL players of all time.
But that's an offensive lineman, though. So would be my guess.
The tallest NFL player right now is 6'9". One of them is your boy, Dan Skipper.
My boy?
I don't know, Colts veteran.
Shout out Dan Skipper.
I don't know who he is. Let's see. Justin Herbert is the NFL's tallest quarterback right now.
He's making it in the NBA.
Is he?
Easy. 6'8" shooter?
Yeah, who knows? We'll see.
Diamond guy's up. He's probably got insane court vision. It's 6'8".
Diamond. Yeah, Diamond. That's crazy. Anywho, now that the NBA has a whole bunch of prospects to pick from, what's the name games? Because I had something funny for a prank call your mom.
Oh, we can do prank call your mom quick. I was just Utah got a hockey team and they were announcing they had a listed names to choose from that they were going to let the fans vote on. But I don't know if we need to talk about that. We can talk about prank calling your mom. Are you going to prank call your mom?
Names? Pull them up. No, if only.
Pull up the list of names.
Yeah, pull up the list.
Let me see if I can find it here. There was a couple that stood out initially, but
you said who did this list?
So Ryan Smith, the owner of the Jazz, bought, I forget which team. I want to say the Coyotes. I'm not a hockey guy, so if I'm wrong, forgive me. But yeah, I think he bought the Arizona Coyotes. He's relocating them to Utah. Again, this guy owns the Jazz. So he's going to let the fans vote on what the team name could potentially be, which I guess is pretty rare. But
oh, Qualtrics? Shout out. My bad.
He's got 20 options. I don't know if you want me to read all 20 options, but
oh gosh.
One of them's just
I guess we can vote right now.
Utah HC. I guess it's just Utah Hockey Club. I guess it's just in case they want to tap out.
It's all coming together. It's all a conspiracy.
I mean, Washington might go back to Washington football team, so just get ahead of it and do now. Utah. I guess this website's got him ranked, but Utah. Yeah, you said Utah Squall. You like that one? What's Squall?
No, I was about to say what I have a conspiracy theory, but let me pull up. I'm looking at the Qualtrics right now. Okay, so you got Hive, Blizzard, Glaciers, Fury, Black Diamonds, HC. I don't know what that is. Mountaineers,
Hockey Club?
Freeze, Ice, Yeti, Outlaws, Powder, Crayons, Arcanians, Swarm, Venom, Frost, Blast, Squall, Mammoth, and Caribou.
What's your conspiracy?
Utah Venom? Imagine so bad. The guy who did it, the owner, he owns Qualtrics, which is a survey service that my university used, and which is what he's using for the name. So he's just doing all this to get traffic to his site. Yeah, shout out.
He's driving data.
Yeah, yeah. Shout out to him. I mean, looks like it got only like 3K likes, so who knows? But shout out to him. I mean, that's a good marketing thing. But yeah, he's using his own site he's having his fans
Call it the Utah two steps ahead.
Yeti. I do like the Utah Yeti.
Utah Yeti is not bad.
I see fans like it. Which one do you like the most?
Utah Yeti is not
Black Diamond.
Utah Yeti's not bad. What's the logo for Black Diamond? Just a black diamond?
I don't know. I haven't seen it. I just seen.
And what's the mascot?
Logo for Yeti.
I think that's kind of wild. Mammoth, Utah Mammoth.
Mammoth's not
bad.
I'm seeing some Mammoth concept art. Yeah,
I kind of like that.
I don't.
Utah Ice.
There's just so many boring ones like Hive, Glaciers, Ice Freeze. Like those are generic. Come on, anyone can do that.
Utah
Powder?
Caribou.
What powder are we talking about?
The
like
Utah
Swarm,
powder.
Squall. They definitely put some names into an AI and we're like, blop.
They're just going to be
money for me, guys.
The Utah line of Coke. What is Utah powder?
Utah Squall. Here come your Utah Squall.
Yeah, give it up for the
like,
Squall.
Yo.
They're going to have like a tornado mascot. A squall is apparently like a strong gust of wind.
Gust of wind, yeah. That's still a stupid name.
A sudden gust of wind. There's going to be a lot of jokes about the wind only lasting for a couple seconds.
Exactly. They were out of breath. The sales were down today. Trade winds must have been going somewhere else. No, it's a bad list.
Utah Fury?
List. There's already teams called Fury. Shout out to the San Francisco Fury.
Oh,
team.
Utah Blast?
Must have come. Shout out. Just do Yeti and call it a day.
Yeti's not bad.
Like you just blast. Like what?
That's pretty good for hockey.
Logo for it? It's like the number one voted one, I think.
Is it on Twitter?
The one that was like, yeah, it's like the first comment on his post.
Let me see if I can pull up the post.
I mean,
that just seems like an easy
one too. I think people really like that one.
Yeah, it seems like an easy logo, easy mascot.
And it's like, yeah, I don't know why you gotta complicate it. It's a local, NHL team. Like, come on.
It's good with hockey. I'm kind of surprised that nobody has taken it yet.
Exactly. In any sport.
Yeah. Wait, do I have to click on the survey?
You're already going to the middle of nowhere. You're playing on Utah. No, did you go to his tweet?
There's a Raptors one here. Oh, by David Furones.
Here, I'll put it in the chat.
It's a rap?
Yeah. David Furones, yeah.
Yeah, there's one here by a David Furones that's pretty cool. Who is this guy?
Yeah, that's the one I was looking at.
Do we need to get David Furones?
Maybe. What's that profile pic, though?
We'll look into it. He sent out a tweet 14 minutes ago.
Beat writer for the Dolphins?
We can ask him if Tyreek Hill would make it in the NBA. This is pretty cool.
Yeah.
Good colors. Keep it easy with the blue.
No, it's definitely the best.
You heard it here, Ryan Smith, because I mean, obviously he listens. I think he says his
Yeah, obviously.
Listen. So Ryan Smith, we recommend Yeti.
Let me see if I can pull up.
Okay, Sam's gonna prank call his mom.
Yep. No, but someone who did prank call his mom, maybe the best James child, LeBron James. Did I
Zuri
send it to you? I thought I did.
Oh, IT, cut that out.
Shout out, Zuri. No, she's just living life. First of all, I did not know that LeBron James' wife, Savannah, had a podcast.
Oh.
But apparently on the podcast, they had a surprise guest.
Can we ask Savannah? Can we get Savannah on the pod?
I don't know, can we?
Hopefully we don't double book Savannah James and David Furones.
Yeah, we got to watch out for schedules. Make sure to let IT know about that.
Make sure we get locked in on the calendar.
Right. Here, you let me share the screen. Get some permissions in there. Maybe we'll listen to a little bit of Shaq's diss track on Skip on Shannon. Shannon should have just done a diss track on Skip. That would have been real.
Oh, that would have been. That's the real beef we want to see.
That's the one what we want to hear. All right, so here's the clip. Oh,
what's your crazy?
My name is Daryl. I'm from Atlanta. So my crazy is, I'm 17 years old and I'd be playing the video game and I'd be cussing, screaming, banging the desk, and my mom come in and starts yelling at me. So I just want to know if you think that's crazy.
I think it's crazy because I can hear my sons through the walls as well. And I did this rule with my sons. This is Savannah. They play basketball and I gave them you can cuss on the court rule. But I guess I got to translate that to you can cuss when you're on the game too, because the obscenities that fly out of their mouths through my closet wall is crazy.
To be honest, Mom, I don't even think that's crazy at all.
See, there you go. Wait, Bryce! Who we speaking to? Where you from? What's your crazy?
My name is Daryl. I'm from
the podcast, reacting to their podcast.
Honestly, that seems like a couple of good rules. I think cussing on the court, I mean, what are you going to do? You can tell them no? Cussing in the video games?
I'm not going to lie. FIFA has made me crack once or twice.
You think you can say something about the teams and you ain't going to say something back? You got to have G14 classification.
I'm the best in the world.
I'm number one.
I'm the best in the world.
I'm number one.
I'm the best in the world.
Oh, no.
Oh, okay, Shaq. Go crazy, Shaq.
I know. I'm seeing people saying Drake didn't die for this. I don't know.
That's better than push-ups.
It's just so
Kendrick Lamar, don't go at Shaq.
I don't understand why you go after
Shannon.
Drake. Why wouldn't he just go after Chuck? I don't know.
Because I think Shannon's number one right now.
Oh, yeah. Go after the top. Oh, that makes sense. Yeah. They got to attack the person at the top to get some clout.
Is it a diss that it's not Stephen A?
I mean, I think Shannon's been on another level, but
yeah.
Club Shay Shay may be a little bit more popular than the Stephen A. Smith show talking about Fortnite. You ever see that clip? He's talking about Fortnite map. It's like, what?
Where he's talking about where he wants to drop?
Yeah.
He knows more about Fortnite than I do.
Shout out Fortnite. And they had air bending. They had the avatar powers in there.
Is Fortnite back?
Fortnite be on one. Quickly into the other two corners. Tryouts are still ongoing We're still trying to make a team. We have another closed tryout this weekend. And then a couple more tryouts. So I don't know. It's just a whole lot of teams, a whole lot of tryouts. They just got to sift through a lot of people. So we'll see. Also, college rankings going into nationals. So regionals is over. Shout out to Iowa for getting our best place since 2011, which was the last time we made nationals. I mean, we got fourth then also, but there was 4 bids to get to national. While this year was only 2. So, tough times. But there is a little bit of controversy because the seeding, so kind of like the college football playoff seeding, they got Colorado 1, North Carolina 2, Georgia 3, Massachusetts 4. Shout out Kyle Polis low at 5. But, the ulti world, the real street people who, aren't just going off of ratings and stuff. I guess the first one would be like BCS era. They're using more stats, using more numbers. While this is more of like the AP coaches poll, like people who actually watch the games. Georgia is still at 1, Pittsburgh at 2, North Carolina at 3, Massachusetts at 4, Oregon at 5. The number 1 team in the nation, they're probably going to get seeded number 1, and the BCS one is ranked 8th by Ultiworld. So, right above Grey Duck, who won North Central Regionals, the Iowa local area regionals. Shout out Minnesota. So there's a little bit of controversy, but both agree that North Carolina is not the number 1 team in the nation. I kind of warned people at the beginning of the year. North Carolina is weaker, even if they still have Rutledge Smith there. Some of the people who have been part of their 3 championship run. And yeah, right now Georgia is on top on that poll and 3rd on the other poll. So we'll see going into nationals who comes out on top. But
Georgia the most similar team in the 2 polls?
No, because North Carolina is 3rd or 2nd in the BCS one, and then 3rd in the AP coaches poll. So we'll see.
Okay, but North Carolina, Georgia, both legit. So what's the difference with the number 1 then?
So one's Colorado and one's Georgia. So Colorado,
why the gap though that they dropped to 8?
Because like Colorado, they've had some really bad losses this year, and they had a pretty easy sectional. Let me see. They had a pretty easy region compared to Georgia. Here, let's pull up the Ultimate Team Frisbee rankings.
So is the ranking with them at number 1? They're tripping.
Yeah, they are tripping. Let me pull up. Here you go.
So the stats, and you said that's the model one. That's the stats.
Yeah, that's the model one. So, and it's also USAU, so it's the actual organization who picks it. But I think they go off of the same kind of numbers thing that Ultimate Frisbee Rankings goes off of. So they lost to Oregon. Colorado did, who's ranked 7th. They lost at the Northwest Challenge. And so something that is a rule for college is that if you make it to nationals, you just skip sectionals. So you just do your region and then you go in. So they get to skip, so they didn't have to play all that. But they've had some interesting losses. Yeah, they lost to Oregon. They lost by 4 to North Carolina earlier in the year. They had like 2 bad losses against Pittsburgh and Massachusetts. So pretty much anytime they've played a top 5 team, they've lost. They lost to Cal Poly Slow. Yeah, let me see if they beat a top 5 team. Yeah, I don't think they did. I mean, they did beat Oregon earlier in the year, but Oregon is like considered a lower top 10 team. But beyond that, I mean, yeah, Vermont is 9th. They haven't beaten a top 5 team. So they haven't beaten Georgia, Pittsburgh, Carolina, Massachusetts, like any other good teams. So that's why there's a bit of controversy going into the final, because it helps a lot to be the number 1 seed just because of like how the schedule is. And then you get the easiest poll. So it's easiest for you to skip. They have like a quarters and then they actually get into the bracket. So it just makes your whole experience so much easier. to be the number 1 seed, and it's like a decent gap from 1 to 2. So, yeah, no, I didn't realize how much they just didn't play any good teams. But like even their region, like the best team they played against was Texas, who's 10th. And I mean, but most of the teams they played in the region, like they played their own C team, and then they played their own B team, and then they played like some school called Denver, like pretty much like 50th, 128th, 161. Like, let's just say they didn't play any real teams. So yeah, like they played bad. So this is like Michigan, I guess, going into the final.
Hey, no, wait. Because Michigan was actually legit.
Michigan actually beat Ohio State. Yeah, they beat Ohio State. Colorado did not beat. They played Oregon. So it's like if Michigan played Oregon twice, especially this year with Ohio State being with their weak quarterback. It's if Michigan played Ohio State twice and beat them early in the year and then lost to them in a close game later in the year.
Oh, so like a couple of Michigan teams before this McCarthy run have done that before.
Exactly. So, yeah, it's just, it's one of those things where you're like, well, you just got to go into it. So we'll see. We'll see how the finals goes. Yeah, shout out College for Everybody. Also, shout out the women's side, North Carolina. Also, there's 3rd. Vermont is 1. Carleton is 2. Carleton's been stomping people on the D1 women's side. So shout out to them.